As the families of hostages still being held in Gaza await their return, huge crowds have gathered in what's known as Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, a focal point of protest and remembrance since the October 7 attacks on Israel. Now, protesters hope it will be their last gathering, with Hamas expected to release the hostages on Monday. Of the 48 still being held in Gaza, only 20 are thought to be alive. Now, Donald Trump's Mideast envoy was among those to address the crowd, telling them, "Your courage has moved the world." Now, Steve Witkoff was also full of praise for the U.S. president and his role in brokering the Gaza ceasefire. But the crowd wasn't welcoming of his mention of Israel's prime minister.
We all owe a debt of deep gratitude to President Trump. In the worst of times, he refused to accept the idea that peace in the Mideast was out of reach. To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, guys, let me just finish my thought. I was in the trenches with the Prime Minister. Believe me, he was a very important part here.
Middle East analyst Laura Blumenfeld joins us from the Philip Merrill Center for Strategic Studies at Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies in Washington, D.C. Laura, it's good to have you with us again. We're seeing these images of people returning to their homes in Gaza. This is seen as the most significant ceasefire so far, but it's not the first. How likely is it to hold?
Yeah, when you ask President Trump, he says people stopped fighting because they grew tired. So it's fair to say, is this going to be lasting once they recoup and regain their strength? I think the two most important things going forward is that there be consequences and incentives to stick to the remaining 19 points of this 20-point peace plan. So, I mean, sticks and carrots that matter. The other thing, the second point that really needs to matter are the mediators need to matter. They need to be folks who command respect and attention. I remember when I was working on the Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team, we used to say, you can't want peace more than the warring parties do. You can't want it more than they do. It turns out you can. President Trump ran like a freight train right over the naysayers all the way to yes.
We've seen Hamas, for example, in that report just there, some of their personnel out in positioning themselves right now. Where do you see them from a strategic point of view going forward?
Well, look, there's the strategic point of view and there's the narrative point of view. What is the story that Hamas is going to tell? Clearly, strategically, militarily, they're defeated. But, there's a lot that they can claim success. First of all, they survived against the best equipped, strongest military in the Middle East, and they're still standing. Second of all, they're emptying the Israeli prisons of their fighters, former terrorists and hopefully not, but potentially future terrorists. Much of the world has now recognized the state of Palestine after the October 7th attack. They'll take credit for that. But I think the real sense of where they are strategically, whether they're strong or weak, is when we can answer the question, who sets the agenda for Palestinians? Is it going to be Hamas, as they have since they seized power over a decade ago, or is it going to be a Palestinian Authority, as who command the governance in the West Bank, or will it be some kind of new entity? I think that's the real question, and we haven't answered that yet.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as we heard, not too popular with the families and supporters of those being held hostage. Where do you see, or how do you expect him to approach this period as the ceasefire takes hold?
Well, Prime Minister Netanyahu, promised himself to be Mr. Security. That was his nickname. His byline, his bywords were peace through strength. And you heard the envoy Witkoff say that this sort of fight that we're now coming toward victory proves that peace through strength is actually the right approach. So Trump and Netanyahu are on the same page. They feel like military might coupled with diplomacy, brought them to what they consider to be a success. For Netanyahu, it's not only political, though, or military, it's very personal. You have to remember that he was prime minister. He set free Yahya Sinwar in a previous prisoner exchange in 2011. Sinwar was the mastermind of the October 7th attack. That's a personal blow to him. Second of all, his brother, Yoni Netanyahu, died in Entebbe freeing hostages when they were hijacked back in 1976. So yes, he has a lot to aspire to. There are elections on the horizon for Netanyahu, but this has also been a deeply personal blow for him and journey back to what he hopes to be a journey of redemption.
Mm. And quickly, just Donald Trump, of course, we've mentioned him. Would you consider this his biggest foreign accomplishment yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one reason why he's going to benefit from it, not only abroad, asserting kind of American supremacy, if it's such, strength abroad, and his ideology, again, of peace through strength, but also at home, domestically, the Republican Party has been split over this issue of Israelis and Palestinians, particularly his base, in a way that we haven't seen before. So this is an opportunity with peace, hopefully breaking out in the Middle East, to unite his party and to kind of restore Israel's image, he has said, which is one of his goals, both at home and abroad.
Okay, Laura Blumenfeld of Johns Hopkins University. As always, we appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.